Yo, what up? It's Max.
It's RJ.
And you're listening to Streaming Cassettes.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like rust because we didn't do last week because, you know, life happens.
Yeah, life happens.
We took a vacation.
Yeah.
A staycation. But no, we're just sort of shooting the shit. Anyway, we're back at it. I'm pumped. Wonder if the people know what's going on. We got a new camera.
You can see, like, you see everything.
No,
this is crazy.
It's funny. I told my wife, I said, you know what sucks? With the 720, I can get away without having to, like, shave my neck beard and stuff. And now, like, I can't. Like, I have to keep my shit accountable. So I can't be like, oh, yeah, do it tomorrow. But anyway, yeah, I got a little Logitech. Got a 4K. I don't think Zoom does 4K. But
non-sponsor.
Not a sponsor. You know what should be a sponsor, though? Really, ADD is fucking Long Trail Blackberry Wheat. That should be a fucking sponsor.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, book that.
Their IPA, I don't know what it's called. Because
what, double bag? There's a couple of them.
The really dark one. It's really heavy.
Double bag's heavy. And
that one is so good.
And then there's like one with like freaking ear antler. Like
that's the one. That's the one I had. That one's amazing.
Okay, I don't remember the name, but
me either.
Maybe our guest knows. I'm not sure.
You might.
But let's do some formality. This is our bro. We've known him since WIUB Castleton days. We'll dive into that, but he is, I don't know what the term would be professionally, but he is a renaissance man of entertainment galore, probably a master roadie. I guess that may be a term, but he does production. He does tour gigs. He set like fucking speakers on fire. I'm sure of it because he talked one time about like Aquafoam EDM sets, which I was all here for because, you know, I'm a basic bitch for EDM, but it's our boy, Mike Mitrano. Woo!
What's up, man?
Yeah, you should put that on your resume. That whole hype train.
It's the best intro I've had so far.
How you doing?
I'm okay. And you?
We're good. We're glad to have you on. Thank you for joining us. You're on our 20th episode and the first one with the camera. Fun fact.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we had to do it on an even number, no odd shit. So. So let's dive in. So give people kind of background of, like, obviously we know you as like a bud, but like what you kind of have a lot in the music scene, but maybe a little different from like sort of the traditional artist route. What's kind of your kind of upbringing and what you do and like all that good stuff?
All right. So yeah, I design lights for concerts, travel around the US, Canada, Mexico, running shows, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Upbringing was when I was a little kid. We lived in Massachusetts, and every summer my grandmother would fly over from the UK. We have a cottage down on the Cape, and her bedroom at the cottage had a bunch of flyers from different plays that she acted in. And so my bedtime stories were all these plays that she acted in. Some of them were, you know, decent bedtime stories for a 5-year-old, and others probably not. Just being honest there. And then we moved to Vermont, and I saw a play one of my first days of school, and wasn't really interested in the play, but I saw the lights and said that's what I wanted to do. And so when I was old enough, that's what I did, and I just continued on. So first play was 2002. So 19 years later, still doing it.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And you actually, you graduated from Castleton with a degree in, I don't know, I don't want to butcher, what's like the technical term for the degree? I know it's like in lighting and AV, but like.
So the technical term is I have a Bachelor of the Arts, specializing in technical theater and design.
Okay. I wanted to make sure you went through that hustle, so you deserve the proper titling. I don't want to be like, yeah, you like.
A lot of different colleges give it a different title. You know, some are like, you know, theatrical education, and some are, you know, theatrical technology. Some are, you know, design. It depends on what university you go to.
Right. Okay. Now, obviously, I was a community member at WAUB in Castleton, but I actually never attended classes there. Although I wish in another alternate universe I would have. But did you two ever have classes? Because I know you went.
No, we passed each other a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I took acting 1 and 2, and so I would be in the basement, and he would be there like every freaking day.
Well, it was my home, of course. Music, I think it was the same deal. You know, a couple of the music classes might have overlapped in some way.
We might have had a
Maybe some of
music class,
communication.
maybe. I don't know. It's been
I
so
don't know.
long.
Exactly, right? I mean, 2014, so yeah, it's 7 years now.
Dude,
Jesus
it's
Christ.
crazy. Actually, wow, I shit you not. 2 years, or not 2 years, 2 days from tomorrow is the 7th year anniversary of my first Max on Mix-Off show at WAV. Is that nuts? I remember it's March 8th. I remember that like in my brain. It's ingrained. Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, it's so funny where that came from. I remember it being like the first song was the Oliver Heldens remix of Animals by Martin Garrix. I butchered the intro in. I didn't have like an intro. I remember just like hitting the buttons. And then that was even before like I knew RJ. And actually it was Will C. He was
Don't forget about the fire codes.
But yeah, he was in there and he was like, you just push the button. I remember him whispering to me. I'm like, okay. I was shitting bricks. It was great.
It's okay. Don't worry.
All right. Fire codes.
Your fire codes. I remember that.
Yeah, because you guys, that's the thing. I feel like, so how I met Mike was we were trying to do like maybe a music show at WIUB, and then you actually graduated, I think, already. You were just kind of coming back to like, I don't know, do cool shit. And they're like, yo, I'm Mike. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And we literally spent the whole day at the station trying to figure out the logistics of this. The whole fucking day.
Yeah, I think it was both of you.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, you were both running it. You decided you wanted to do a concert. We talked about artists that we could bring in and how we would do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got all those plans together. And then all of a sudden we went for the funding and they're like, nope. I'm like, okay. I
thought it was cool. It's gonna be like Spartan Land Music Festival. I was here for it.
Yeah, it would have been a great time.
I mean, we have another idea like that, but it was just like so cool to see the behind the scenes and like, so I got this guy. He just called me and he's a go-go. I'm like, holy shit, it's gonna happen. And of course, you know, Castleton being like, yeah, you know, we got this, you got this. Like, okay. But at the same time, it was a learning experience.
It was. I did not know anything about booking fees.
There are fees for everything, man.
Yeah. I feel like I remember having an adamant feeling to bring a throwback artist. I kept telling like, what about T-Pain? I don't know why I was so adamantly stuck on like, yeah, we need T-Pain. I was like, you want like Howie Day.
Yeah, like I think, well, because of Fireside. I mean, he's played at Fireside. Jaren's played there. I think we did a show together once. And I'm like, Howie Day would be perfect. I don't know why I thought of that.
Howie Day would have been a great act, and it would have been cheap too. You know, he does not. It's not a 10, 15 grand show. You know, he'll come in for like 2 or 3.
Exactly.
I know the story because we talked about that day. Weren't you involved in getting G-Eazy to Castleton before he blew up?
Yeah.
I know there's a magical story with him.
Yep. That was a highlight and a disappointment all at the same time.
I can imagine.
That sounds like him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not horrible, but still.
That's a good reflection of his catalog.
He was a nice guy. Yeah, there were other reasons why it was a horrible experience, but he put on a decent show for what he did, and he was a nice guy up until the show.
That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, what he sings about, probably, yes. I could see that.
Well, actually, really, there's so many full circles with this, but didn't you get Devin Ferreira to open that one? Because I know I interviewed him on Max on Mix-Off. You did? Okay.
So, yeah, I brought Devin Ferreira up from Boston, who says hi, by the way.
Oh, yes.
I chatted with him earlier this week, and I'm going to hang out with Max. He's like, dude. So shout out. And then we had Maddie Burns, who was a Castleton student, open the show.
That's dope. No shit.
Yeah, it was really fun to have local performers open for a nationally known act.
Right, especially like in kind of the hip hop sector too, because I feel like listen, I love Vermont, but it's definitely like jam band city. So
Right?
it's nice when you have some deviant from that.
No, exactly. And it was a good show. We had about 300 people show up to that. It was a free show. There are some great pictures still around.
Yep. That's sick.
But yeah, no, it was a time. Definitely a learning experience at times too.
Do you have a and we can kind of go more of like the working career part. Do you have like a memory at Castleton that like sticks with you from that whole like era or memories?
Ooh.
Not to drop loaded questions.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some good ones. One of them being the haunted FAC, which was basically a haunted house. I don't know if Alpha Psi Omega still does it, but basically we tricked out the FAC into a haunted house 2 nights in October. It's a fundraiser.
So much fun.
It was a lot of fun. All the theater kids came together. A couple of music kids came over, and it was a good time. Lots of really demented, weird ass things in there, which was good. We set off the fire alarm a couple times. It's always fun on how.
Proper.
No, exactly, right.
Yeah.
We had a show called The Pillow Man, which by far still my favorite play. The Bald Soprano for a senior project was great. Playing pool.
Oh yeah.
Down in the basement, hanging out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of good memories.
Pillow Man is awesome, by the way.
Yeah, it was a fun show.
That was probably, I agree, that might be the best one I saw.
Yeah, it was a really interesting time. Max, if you don't know what Pillow Man is, I'm guessing, right?
No, I was just about to say, do tell.
All right, so basically, I have a copy of it if you want to borrow it to read, but basically it's the totalitarian state, and this author had just been arrested because there are murders going on in the town that are similar to things that he wrote in his stories. Like literally someone is picking off each one of these stories and killing somebody in the same method that his stories are saying. So everyone obviously thinks it's him. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so the play goes from there. But it's
wow.
Really demented.
Yeah.
But very, very good. It's a lot of fun.
That's dope. I mean, it's a really interesting concept,
Yeah. It was the closest thing that I got it to was the movie The Raven with John Cusack.
Yeah.
Take that, but make it good.
Pretty much.
Sorry, John Cusack.
He's done some bad movies lately.
He's done some really good stuff, but
he's done some good stuff too. Yes, 1408 was great.
1408 was brilliant. That was a great movie.
Yes, but one of his recent ones, I want to say it was with Samuel L. Jackson. Like, it's a zombie movie, but it's like a really, like, you could tell the people when they change or it's CGI, and his acting's like, what are we gonna do? It's like, okay, this is like, what is it, like a one-take movie? I don't know what it's called. I have to look it up, but yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, check it out.
Jesus, that sounds crazy. Or bad, or train wreck.
Well, you got Nicolas Cage bad, where you're just like, this is great, but then you have bad.
No, exactly. No, it's one of those. Do you guys have bad movie nights? That you just sit, drink, smoke, watch a bad movie or something like that?
Yes.
Like I have a shelf of movies that are just bad movies, and so that's the only reason why I own them is for bad movie drinking.
Batman
nights.
and Robin.
Batman and Robin.
The Room.
Joel Schumacher. Ugh.
The Room.
The Room. Wait, was that the
Lisa? That one.
Okay.
Yes.
Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter.
I've seen that. Like, is that on Amazon? I thought I've seen like the name.
It might be on Amazon. It's, oh my God, it's awful. It's a musical. Like Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, and it's a musical.
Yeah, The Room. I don't know, Max, have you ever seen The Disaster Artist with James Franco?
No.
Well, it's about the room and how they made it
Oh, okay.
and how bad it was.
Oh, right. Was that like on Netflix? Or
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Okay, I
still.
thought I've seen that in like recommendations. Okay, but I've not seen it.
It's terrible.
There's one called Stage Fright. That's I think it's still on Netflix. It's another horror musical. Meatloaf is in it. I know we're getting there from bad movies. This one is brilliant. This one is like so good. It's like if you were a theater kid, you're gonna sit there and be like, "Oh my God, he shouldn't have done that. That's why he died." But Meatloaf
right?
is brilliant.
So this is something that okay, so obviously went to college, graduated through your cap, right? Okay. Not I feel like I'm doing a fucking biography of you, like making of music, Mike Mitrano.
Wikipedia.
But okay, so my thing that comes to me, and obviously another thing we should tell people, he's also founder, owner of Dark Shadows Entertainment. So we are going to touch on that too. So he's not a one-trick pony, motherfuckers. But the other thing is, so with a position like AV lights and like going on the road and stuff, how does one get a job in that? Obviously, you hear the term like, oh yeah, roadie, like you like the band, you hop on the bus, and like that's like the movie version. But how's like that process work that you actually get like signed on to different jobs and like tours and that whole universe?
Well, there's a bunch of different ways to do it, and the most common way that you're going to hear is, "Oh, it's all about who you know," which it's partially true, but at the same time, doesn't have to be. For me, what I ended up doing was, I did high school plays, and then got hired by a couple local community theater groups. Started doing shows with them, and then I went to I think I went to Higher Ground and saw Secondhand Serenade or something like that. Like I don't know if that like dates me at all right there. But
I
back
think we're
when
all in that same
Serenade
tax
was
bracket
big,
of age right
yeah.
now.
But went up and saw them, and the show was being run by the house engineer. And so I started talking to a couple of the different, lighting technicians because I was like, I was a junior in high school at the time. And I'm like, you know what? I might as well, this is what I want to do. I might as well talk to these people and try and figure out how they, obtain this job. Uh, and so I chatted, and the guy turned out to be the house guy, not a touring guy, but the house guy. And he gave me a short internship, and so through that I worked for Third Eye Blinds. I worked for the Plain White Tees, and I worked for the Black Crows for a few shows at Higher Grounds, all while I was in high school. It was just cheap, unpaid internship. Just come up, work the show, hang out, watch the show, see what a professional show looks like. And then I was doing a show in Middlebury, and there was a student at Castleton named Lou Raquelme. Still a really great friend, but he went to the same school, so he's coming up and kind of showing off his set design for a show that he was doing. And he mentioned upcoming shows at Castleton, mentioned Carolina Liar, and I'm like, dude, I get me on it. And so I went down to Castleton, again, unpaid day, but again, high school student coming in and working a professional touring act. Did that. It was fun. That's actually why I chose Castleton. Was that day right there was the gentleman that was running the department, Chad Vogel. I'm like, anyone that's going to take time for a high school kid who hasn't made up his mind of where he wants to go, anyone that's going to take time, take him under his wing and show him around, I have to go here. It legit is the small school with a big heart. Don't care what anybody says. That proved it right there. So that's, I chose that. But basically, right after school, got a job as a lighting tech for a company up in upstate New York. Learned a lot more about lighting. Went out on tour with a band that hired our company to supply lighting for the band. So I did a couple runs with the Disco Biscuits, then applied just like I would to any other job. I applied for a couple of touring positions with Cirque du Soleil or Disney on Ice, or a few other tours. and got the job with Disney on Ice. Toured for 7 months with them. Transferred to another department at that same company, and then toured with Supercross for a year. And then after that, it just came down to, finding random job postings or getting calls from friends going, hey, like for instance, Legally Blonde. I literally was flying home from a 3-month tour with Champions of Magic, got off my first flight in Detroit, found I had a missed call. It was from one of my old touring buddies saying, hey, Legally Blonde needs a head electrician. You want to do it? Yeah. And so a week later, I flew down to Texas and I did a month with them.
Wow.
So sometimes it is who you know, but then other times it's kind of luck of the draw. It's proving that you actually know what you're doing and going from there. You have all these kids that go to Full Sail in Florida, which is a school that like specializes in concert production. And on paper, they're brilliant. They're like, oh yeah, I know all this shit. And then you actually get them out there to do the job and they fail, like they're just awful to work with because they don't have the actual experience. They have the on paper in a book, they have the logic behind it. They just don't have the actual implementation. And I'm not knocking all Full Sail kids. I've worked with a few that actually are legit technicians that can go circles around me, but there are others that are just like, what the hell are you thinking? Like that will never work. What are you talking about?
Mm. That's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, long story short, part of it is who you know, and then the other part of it is just actually know what you're doing, and people will come out and find you.
Man, that's impressive, dude. Like kudos to you. Obviously, I know that, but like just formal recognition, man. I don't know. What do you feel about like that whole stuff, like that whole world?
The behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. It fascinates the fuck out of me.
I think behind the scenes stuff is probably like you see the band, and then I would say like right underneath, the most important has to be those people, because like I just saw August Burns Red in December on Zoom.
Yes.
Like, dude, their light show was still the best light show I ever saw. Like even on Zoom, it was still like, holy crap. Like, because the band, you're like, they're gonna go all out because they haven't played a show in a whole year. They're gonna go all out. You think the light guys are gonna? Well, fuck yeah, they are. I saw them actually in person too, and the light show at Clifton Park was just as good on Zoom. Like, it's crazy.
When did you see him in Clifton Park?
2 years, actually, almost to the date, 2 years ago.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I caught them there 2015. And funny you mention August Burns Red. I have an August Burns Red story for you that kind of makes me look like an idiot, but I figured you'll enjoy it and I'm willing to tell it to you.
Okay.
So when I was working for the company in upstate New York, they rented lighting from us. And so I created the lighting package for them, got in our truck, drove down to Pennsylvania to deliver it to them. So we get down there, and there's this huge ice storm that's happening while I'm driving down there. So young kid driving a 26-foot box truck through farmland, Pennsylvania. Yeah, great time. So I get to the hotel. It's like maybe 7 at night. Ghost town. You're in Amish country at this point, Get to the hotel, park the truck, slide across the lot because it's all iced over. Order my dinner. Forget that my dinner is on the way. I put in Tusk. That Kevin Smith movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Justin Long, Walrus, all that really fucked up shit. So that had just come out and I hadn't actually watched it yet. So I'm like, oh, I'll spend the night watching this movie and get my food and it's gonna be a great time. So I get really into the movie, and it's just at the point where like you're really starting to figure out what exactly is going on and seeing like how everything is happening. And so like you're really engrossed in the movie. And I'm at this hotel that nobody else is at, in the middle of a in the middle of an ice storm, and all of a sudden there's a knock at my door, and I jump, which doesn't normally happen to me, and it's the Chinese food delivery, and so I eat the food and whatever. Next day, I'm driving the truck to go and deliver it. No, everything is closed off. So my main access road to get there is shut down because there's car accidents. I'm like, shit. So I'm back roading it to get over there. So I'm 2 hours late because it's all back roads through farm country, going up and down hills, totally iced over. Nobody's maintaining them, whatever. Show up, and there's this one guy to help me unload a box truck full of gear. I'm like, okay, at least somebody's here. That's cool. So we're unloading. The guy's like, hey, I'm JB. I'm like, cool, I'm Mike. And just prefacing this, I know the band. I knew some of the music, but I didn't know any of the members, what they look like. I had never seen a video. I just knew some of the songs. That's it. So the guy is unloading, the gear. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. What do you do? Thinking he's, a technician for the band. He's like, oh dude, I play guitar. And I'm like, oh cool, I play guitar too. And so we're chatting, and at the end he gives me a couple passes for the Clifton Park show, which was like a week later. I was planning on going to it anyway to check in on the gear and make sure they're happy and all that. But no, he gave me a few passes, and I'm like, perfect, this is great. So I get back to the hotel. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch some videos. So I put in, I type on YouTube, and it was right when Beauty and Tragedy was coming out. The video for that, pop it in. All of a sudden, I see him, and I'm like, no way. And so I did a quick Google search, and I'm like, this guy is rated as one of the greatest metal guitarists of the generation. And I just told him nonchalantly, oh yeah, I play guitar too. Wow. So we get to the show at Clifton Park. I'm hanging out backstage with them. We're watching Miss May I. We're watching North Lane, a few other. I think there was one other band that was there. Really great show, really top notch, crew, and they do their set. Their set's fucking unbelievable as always. It's August Burns Red. After the show, we're hanging out. He's like, "Yeah, come hang out backstage." I'm like, "Cool." What's going on backstage? What do you think is happening backstage? They ordered pizza, and we're watching the NHL All-Star game. That's what's happening.
Yes. Yeah.
Show. So it's literally like, it was the coolest experience, because like the Disco Biscuits, you're seeing people party, you're seeing people doing coke, like you're seeing all of these bad things happening backstage. Like it's the stereotypical rock star life backstage for the audience, not for the band, but for the audience. August Burns Red, no, just hanging out. That's all we're doing, hanging out, having a couple slices of pizza, watching a hockey game. Like, badass.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah,
in my head, I'm just like, you're describing Lancaster, and like, I know where this is going. You're like, back roads, and then it's farmland, and like, he's gonna meet one of them and not know it.
It was fucking terrible, man.
But that's why people love him, because that's how they act. It's just like, I'm like, when I met the drummer, he's like, hey man, what's up? How's it going? Like, it was like a regular conversation. Just like, hey, I'm Matt. Like,
like how down to earth these guys, right? How down to earth these guys are. It's just unbelievable for the amount of credit that these guys have. I mean, their tours sell out all the time. Their albums are multi-times platinum. They've won numerous awards from all different, groups. Like, the fact that these guys are so like down to earth is just, you don't see that for somebody of their caliber.
And that's
it's a testament to them.
That's the kind of like thing with metal concerts, is people are always like, drugs and beer and all this. I'm like, yeah, when I went to a country concert, even at the fucking Paramount, there was beer bottles everywhere. I go to a festival for metal for 2 days. Nobody got stabbed. Nobody got shot. No beer bottles on the ground. A couple of drunk people, but I mean, but
it's all about the act.
Yeah, Like I felt safe there.
No, legit. It's about the act, how they perform, and the audience that they attract. You know, if you're playing a show and you're touting your, gun-toting rights and blah blah blah, like, don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for that, but the group of people that you're probably going to attract to that are probably going to leave beer bottles around. You're going to sell out the bar. You get some metal shows like that, Black Label Society, you're going to get, their show at Harpo's back in 2003, the bar was completely cleaned out for the first time in history. Like, like they drink, which is great. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's all about the act and who they actually bring out to their shows. Just like stores. You see a different group of people shopping at Walmart than you do at a Target. Granted, it's very similar stuff, but you get different clientele you get different people going into a Broadway theater than you do a New York City club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So one thing that just hit me, I feel like we have a very small role thing, me and Mike, on this front too. It's kind of crazy. I'll give you a backstory. So remember when I saw you on the flight from Burlington to Philly?
Yes. Dude, I was shocked. I was like, this does not happen.
Oh, it's crazy, but there's a tie to this network. That's what's going to throw you off. So I remember when I went to Atlanta for AT&T. So I went to Atlanta, and my flight was from Burlington to Philly, Philly to Atlanta. Well, I'm just chilling in this like little, how Burlington's a small ass airport. We're just chilling in the piddly little like aisle here, waiting for the gate. And sure enough, this guy was right there with me. I'm like, no shit, it's Mike. And I think that was actually like the second or third time we've really ever interacted, because it wasn't since like the WAV days. And we were just talking like, no shit, this is crazy, blah, blah. And we both almost missed our flights because it was like delayed. Remember that? It was like, there was like a lag with like the bags and stuff because they couldn't fit all the bags in. It was a like little like pond jumper.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we took like the same shuttle and we like went our separate ways.
No, it was really amusing. I remember that day very, very well. And the fact that we get on, we're boarding the plane in different groups. I think I had like group A and you had like B or C or something like that. Sure enough, we're both in the back of the plane now. And like I think you're the row behind me or something like that. And of course it's Burlington, so you're small flight. So we're like literally a person away from each other, just sitting there laughing. And then all of a sudden the stewardess is like, oh yeah, it's, the flight's going to take a little bit longer. We're a little bit delayed to get on the runway and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, shit, like I have a flight to get out of Philly. You have a flight to get out of Philly. Like, how is this going to work? And it's American. So sure enough, you have to change terminals when you get to Philly.
Yes.
You walk out of the airport, you get on that little shuttle bus. They bring you across the airport and they're never on time.
No.
I was like, shit.
Yeah, because you're going to like Charleston, right?
Yeah, I wasn't even traveling for work on that one. I was just traveling to visit family.
Right. That's what I thought. So what's really crazy about that trip, though, is when I saw you, I ended up going to Atlanta and I did a training with a bunch of people. Well, sure enough, one of the people there was from Queensbury, New York. And it was my friend Gabe. And I met him. I'm like, no shit. Like, there's people from like freaking Texas, Arizona, Missouri. And I'm like, there's a dude from like an hour away. So we shot the shit and we became friends ever since, did fantasy football. Well, one of his closest friends is Hunter, who owns Wingman of the Year.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I hit me when we're talking. I'm like, I have to tell Mike this. That's how small circle this is. If I never met Gabe on that training in Atlanta, which I almost never went to because my boss didn't want to originally send me down there. But he's like, I'll send you down. Have a trip. Have fun. And yeah, if it wasn't for that, I would have never met Hunter. I'd never been on this network. We wouldn't be talking right now, like in this format.
Badass, dude.
Small world.
Dude, it really is a small world.
It's fucking insane. It really is. Just in case Hunter's watching, he can really tell you how crazy.
It happens every once in a while, flying wise. So like, to me, it first happened with you. But then I took another flight. I think it was the flight home from Charleston. I did Charleston to Atlanta and then a direct flight from Atlanta to Burlington. And Twiddle was on my flight. So I Yeah, I was flying home because I had to go and fly out to another tour. And so it was my youngest sister's high school graduation. I was flying home from that, and all of a sudden I'm in Atlanta just waiting for my flight. I have my Pelican there. I have a couple other things, and all of a sudden this guy, walks up to me and he goes, is that a Vermont sticker I'm seeing? I'm like, yeah. Hey, you're Mahali. He's like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, you're Twiddle. I know you. So we shot the shit. Brooke and I reconnected after like 10 years of, meeting. And it was great. We all just hung out, talked, and talked about Castleton, talked about Vermont for a while, and they had just done an afternoon set at a festival like down the road from the airport, and yeah, it was interesting. And then my buddy Lou and I catch each other every once in a while, flying out. He flies out for the Lion King. I fly out for another tour, and it's always funny. We link up probably for about 2 minutes and then separate to go on our flights.
Mm-hmm. Damn,
It really is a small world. No, it's fun, man.
So a question I have on the touring side, and then we'll go to Dark Shadows and obviously what's going on with the pandemic too for stuff and everything. You obviously have a huge kind of a back catalog or a list of places you've done shows for and worked. What's on do you have anything on your bucket list for things you want to do a tour for?
I want for a tour, I would love to tour with Muse. In all honesty, I would love to tour with Muse. I would love to tour with Ghost. I would love to tour with no, I'm dead serious. If you've seen the production, you know exactly why I want to tour with Ghost. Silverstein would be, I would tour with them and retire. Like that's my tops. Jimmy Buffett. Yeah, I know. I went from Silverstein, Jimmy Buffett. Damn right I did. That would be another one. And then venue wise, the Gorge out in Washington or Red Rocks. If I can work in one of those two places, I'll be happy. I've been able to cross a lot of things off my bucket list. I've had my work shown internationally on TV. I've had shows where 60, 70,000 people have attended. I've had I've been on TV. Like I've been able to cross a lot of things off my bucket list. But those are a couple things that I have not been able to do yet.
So I'm kind of naive, I'm always the musical basic bitch on the show. So is like the lighting show for Ghost like insane?
I would say Muse and Ghost have pretty crazy production. Muse light show, yes. Ghost production wise, it's like up there with Kiss. Like, oh wow, they do like a okay, this is not who they are, but they do like a freaking Catholic mass. Like, is that like
so
grand stage?
Exactly it. So like Muse is very cutting edge technology for all of their shows.
Yes.
Their drones tour, they actually flew drones through the audience while the band was on stage performing. Like literally just drones flying around the audience, different images up on their screens. Like their production is nuts. And then I saw them on that same tour 2 months later, completely different stage design, set list, everything. Like absolutely incredible what they do and what their turnaround time is. Ghost, they are incredibly theatrical in their performances. Like RJ said, they literally design it like you're in a church. Stained glass window drops. They're all wearing, their garb. It's unbelievable how much they put into their show to make it a performance as opposed to a show. They literally put all of themselves into that performance.
That's just fucking wild.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
Literally touring a Broadway show in the form of a. But Max, if you haven't taken a chance, definitely check them out.
I'm gonna need to.
Their second, the first song I heard from them was Year Zero. my buddy Drew, no, seriously, like I'm touring with Disney on Ice and we're doing loadout, and my buddy Drew would always have his little Bluetooth speaker attached to his hip. And so he's just playing random like Meshuggah, and he's playing Ghost, and he's playing like all of these like obscure bands that most people at the time would not have heard of unless you were actually a fan. And it's just hilarious because we're loading out Disney on Ice, like one of the happiest little shows. You have all these like little princess things and flowers all over the place, and you're just getting, hailstorm, just shit like that. And it's like, whoa. But after hearing Year Zero, I'm like, I got to check him out. And so I started watching videos and saw a couple images, and I'm like, this is great. But yeah, I have all their stuff. I'm really wishing they put out like a live DVD.
Oh my God, they need to.
Right?
They need to. And then people are like, well, I need to go see this now.
No, exactly.
And then Tobias is always like dressing up in robes and shit.
Yeah, in every album cycle, he creates a new character for himself. So like all of the bandmates are, the nameless ghouls. They just dress up in robes, garbs, masks, so you can't really tell who is actually there, which is the point. And then the point for Tobias is every album cycle, every album has a different theme that goes along with it. And every cycle he creates a new character. So it was like Papa Emeritus the first, Papa Emeritus the second, Cardinal, he's just all of these different characters. And each one is like a younger version of it, which is kind of interesting because he's growing older and each album theme is technically getting into a more thoughtful spot, if that makes sense. Yeah, like it's really incredible what they do. And everyone's like, oh, it's a gimmick band. It really isn't a gimmick band. If you actually pay attention to what they're doing, it's not a gimmick at all.
No, and they can actually play music, so.
And they can actually play music, exactly.
Exactly, yeah. And it's so hard to describe what they are, because like they dress like black metal, but then like their first album is pretty much discount Black Sabbath, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like legit 70s rock.
It is. It sounds like it should be in the 70s.
No, exactly. And then you get up to their latest album, and you're like, okay, this is 70s rock, but a little bit of some disco element, kind of like what Kiss brought in with I Was Made for Loving You, and
yep.
And then they actually got in with a few piano ballads and things like that. It's like it's good. They did get a little poppy, but at the same time it's not like crappy poppy. They actually are staying true to who the band is, what I mean?
And it's not like we didn't see it coming, because they did 80s covers. So
exactly between every album they put out a covers EP.
Oh, okay.
They put out one called If You Have Ghost, which was like 5 covers, and then they put out one called Pope Star, which had like 4 additional covers. So they have like Eurythmics, they have
oh damn,
Echo Honeyman, a couple things like that. Really good stuff.
I'm gonna have to fucking check it out.
Oh, like Maroon 5, we just went.
You're frozen.
Uh-oh.
I know, the damn internet. We gotta like jack it up in here. Just crank it up.
Just in here.
Well, it's the weird little red room. Mike's been in this room. Yeah. He has been.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to think of like a show that I, from a production standpoint that like really blew my mind. Which one really blew my mind was, I know you're gonna laugh, but it was really good. Was I saw Chainsmokers, and it was their World War Joy show with 5 Seconds of Summer. The 5 Seconds of Summer wasn't really anything crazy production wise, but the Chainsmoker one, especially because I saw the Memories Do Not Open one in Albany, that was just kind of a green screen, LED, and they went off. But the World War Joy one, they brought like motocross people, and they were just flipping it like a death ball and like shit like that. That was pretty crazy with like the lasers and shit. So
on that specific tour, my buddy, a couple friends from the Magic tour that I was working went and saw their show in Louisville.
Okay.
We had a couple days off. I flew home, and they were all in Louisville. I flew back to Louisville a couple days after. And yeah, they caught the show and they're like, this is great, this is great. And I'm like, I would have been for 5 sauce. 5 seconds of summer is brilliant. Yeah, I know.
No, they are. I'll be honest. When I went in, I'll be real as you, fucking real. When I went in, I'm like, okay, I'm putting in the mindset of like it's One Direction, but they're Aussie, right? Like that's like the prism I'm in.
Which is fair, but they can actually play their instruments.
No, they were great live.
They actually write their music.
Yeah, they were great live. No, that was the thing.
Right?
Like, I was surprised because I thought it was gonna be a co-headline one, so I thought they would have had more production on like the budget, but I feel like they pumped it more into the Chainsmokers. But they actually were awesome live, and I was like, holy shit, that was actually a good tour because their opener was I never heard of her till that show was Lennon Stella, and she is a really good pop vocalist too, and my wife's liked her shit since. And it was a really good show. I was like, it was at the Garden. I was like, holy shit, this is dope.
Nice, dude.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, no, just the way that they did like with the Chainsmokers, it's always interesting because they literally will have like a DJ table and then they flip to like the whole rock end. So they're like flipping 4 times versus like most like Ultra and EDC, like they're mostly just kind of like table sets and that's it. So
Right.
Right. You have your live stage like maybe like a Louis the Child or like Maddie on. Sometimes they'll do live sets, but it's pretty rare. It's like table sets. So yeah. So let's talk about Dark Shadows Entertainment. You've done that for I feel like what 5-6 years now.
So I opened it in January of 2013.
Oh wow, 7. Damn boy.
It hit me this year. I'm like, wow, I really am getting old. Starting to really feel old, even though I'm not old. I'm starting to feel it.
Right. How old are you?
28.
Okay, you're not at the 30.
I know, right? Get the fuck out of here.
we're all on like the same ballpark. We're in that kick-ass over 25 crowd. So yeah. Cheers to that.
Exactly.
So Dark Shadows, is it kind of like a for the folks at home, like kind of like managing artist, or is it more like tour stuff? What's it kind of all about?
So it's kind of a mix of everything. Back in 2013 when I was in college, I did Dark Shadows and then I did Mike Mitrano designs. And basically Dark Shadows was me booking shows for my friends, saying like, hey, Jaron, for instance, Jaron needed a show and I had a contact for a show in Middlebury and, hey, Jaron, go play the show, or Burlington or something like that. And, it was just a way to get shows for my friends. Because I had the contacts from me playing shows with my bands or with, just knowing people. So that's kind of where that started. And then it became me offering advice to different acts about like how they should release their music and, how they get the most bang for their buck, things like that. And then with Mike Mitrano Designs, it was really just me designing concerts, designing lights, sounds, things like that. And so it wasn't until more recently that I really melded them together because I'm like, it just seems like they should be melded together because I'm, kind of doing everything for acts. And so now with Dark Shadows Entertainment, it's kind of a one-stop shop for anything that you may need, whether you're a small band that's just getting started or whether you're an internationally touring act that needs a lighting crew or something like that. It's kind of, this is where we're at. But lighting, event booking, event hosting, artist management, event management, production design, photography, videography, advising, you name it, we can supply it. Audio, carpentry, crews, whatever you need. And it's been fun. So we actually just launched the new website, darkshadowsentertainment.com.
Nice.
And that kind of has some images from different shows that I've done over the past couple of years. Everything from, a small little club act in the size of the Red Room to a large scale festival like Fresh Grass in Massachusetts, to Supercross. There's a nice picture of Eli Tomac winning a race and my lighting and stuff behind it, which is pretty cool.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been fun to kind of redesign that website and kind of go from there. But we also do consulting. So a few friends of mine just opened a UVC lighting company, and basically they take UVC devices that you find in hospitals to clean. And they bought a couple of those machines, and they're now bringing them into schools and hotels and things like that to clean the rooms. What UVC does is it's a wave. It's basically a light wave on the spectrum that can actually kill COVID and other viruses that are airborne.
Wow.
And so bringing these into the hotel room, yeah, you can wipe down the surface, yeah, you can wear your mask, things like that, but this actually has been proven to kill everything. So you're going to see a lot of products that are coming out that are UVC products. Some of them are complete bullshit, in all honesty, like the UVC air purifiers. Don't trust them. You're paying a bunch of extra money for something that's not actually doing anything, because the air needs to be in front of UVC light for a certain amount of time, and in an air purifier, it's consistently going. So the air is then actually sitting in front of the light. It's passing by the light. And so it's not actually cleaning the air. It's just cycling it.
Wow.
You know, but yeah, no, there's a lot of really cool things that we've been able to do. Now we're working as a consultant for a company that's moving up here from Costa Rica. And I've worked with them for a couple of years now on other projects, but we're currently looking at a few different acts to try and build shows again.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun to try and pick up the pieces from the pandemic.
Yeah, well, especially like I knew a lot about your music side, but I didn't realize that you're doing this consulting collaboration with a company that is actually trying to like sanitize with UV lights. You have such a background in lighting, so that makes sense. That's awesome. That's like wow.
Yeah, so one of the companies I've been working with since 2007, I started with them as a high school intern, and then I was in high school, met the boss's daughter. She and I hit it off, and she's like, "You need to meet my dad. You need to meet my dad." And I met her dad and started working with him, and I still to this day work with him. So he's been able to give me certain opportunities, and that's one of the opportunities is he had this idea for a UVC cleaning company. We got an investor, and he called me in to help consult and get the company off the ground. And so now the company is actually pretty much off the ground and able to start cleaning, which is good. When you think about it, you have all these hospitals have been doing it for a decade, but that's pretty much it. It's kind of an untapped market, if you will.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the private sector, no doubt. What are some of the acts that you have kind of collaborated with Dark Shadows, or like you have like a relationship right now with?
Devin Ferreira, we've collaborated since Dark Shadows opened, and now we still talk and we still work together on different things. Most recently, the Jesse Taylor band out of Burlington, they came down, we filmed a session together, and then we're kind of in a artist advising / artist development type deal, where we're actually talking to fill in certain voids and help the band jump back up. Jaron Gray, we worked together for a while. Now not as much, but anytime he's back in this area, he typically lets me know well ahead of time, and I try and find a few shows for him. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love our boy Jaron. You actually kind of brought up the point I was going to bring up. So obviously, as anyone knows, pandemic, and one of the areas that's been the worst hit is in live events, production, like all that stuff. I'll tackle more maybe on the legislative end in a second, but you mentioned with one of the artists you're working with, you talked about like filming a show. You're kind of taking lemons and making a lemonade with like involving yourself with the local artists while you're home right now because there's a lack of shows. What's kind of going on with that?
So thank you. what's happening right now is because there is a lack of shows, you do have a lot of people that are, just kind of waiting, and we're all kind of tired of waiting, whether it's, someone that's actually working the shows or somebody that's waiting to go and see a show. You have this built up demand, you have this pent up, aggression to get out and start working again. And so the idea that was floated is to create a live music series that caters to local artists to come in and perform. And so what we're doing is offering packages for a highly discounted rate to different local bands. And by highly discounted rate, I mean like about 75% off what it would be if COVID wasn't killing us. But we're catering exclusively to Vermont acts to give them high quality content of a live performance, basically live performance without an audience. It's taking it a step above the live stream where somebody is sitting there playing into their phone and basically recording them multicam, editing the video. And so you have something that's literally DVD concert quality that you can release. And when you have that, you can cut it up how you want it. You can release it how you want it. You can sell it for whatever you want. You can make whatever money you want off it. All we get is the original down payment to do it, and then credits. That's it. Other than that, it's yours to do whatever you want. You have the audio, you have the video, you have everything. So certain artists have taken advantage of it. Bishop LeVay has released a live EP from the show that we did last May. The Jesse Taylor Band has their video release party happening this Saturday, so a week from today. So Saturday the 13th. So that'll be up. They're doing the 5-song EP live, which will be great. Dwayne Carlton just came in, recorded a bunch of stuff for his new CD that's coming out this fall, and so he'll release it around then. So yeah, I mean, it's been fun. It's definitely been interesting to develop, a new side of things and kind of seeing what everyone else has been doing, because everyone's like, oh, live streaming's where it's at. It's like, live streaming's great, but let's take it a step further. And so, I'm taking it a step further by, here's your professional lighting from a touring lighting technician. Here's your professional audio from a touring sound technician. Here's your professional video from a touring video editor, a professional video editor. And then here you go for a low fee. It's all yours. Do whatever your heart content with it. And it's building. You have so much new products that you can put out that you got for next to nothing that nobody else has. It's literally putting you up a step above everyone else.
That's so cool. I mean, what's great, I knew a little bit, obviously, because we've talked and stuff, and I have to give you another credit thing. I think, because obviously, to give a little background, I kind of did a short stint where I did some interviews. You mentioned Bishop. I came in on a fly in that one. And during that interview series, kind of made the cogwheel spin to what Streaming Cassettes is today. Because it was one of those, I thought it was a cool experience. And then when Hunter approached me for Wingman of the Year, I was like, well, listen, or the fans do, I had Max on Mix Off. Love that show. In a perfect world, I'd probably bring it back, but I need like a crew, and there has to be like it's such like a, like a circus zoo morning show. You have to just let it be that. But I was like, let me do something from the ground up that's like a one-on-one kind of podcast vibe. We did some debates, but now we have more interviews. And I was like, I really like the vibe from when I did those interviews with Mitrano. Maybe I can kind of tweak it into something that fits and like has different music perspectives. So yeah,
badass, dude. I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah, it was. I have to say, yeah,
it's awesome.
Yep. But no, I think what you guys are doing is amazing.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, sorry.
And same to you guys. I caught a bit of the Grand Champ interview, but I also got Blink 182 with Tom DeLonge versus Matt Skiba. Come on, guys. Come on. That one hits home. Blink is nothing without Tom.
Oh yeah, RJ, you guys have to say there.
Yeah, he's a little whiny bitch. That's what he is.
Oh,
But he owns all the small things.
That's the only hit he had. Mark had all those hits though. Mark sings on a lot of the hits.
No, he does. He does. Doesn't mean that, he wrote them or came up with them.
I know, but they're like Paul and John. They pretty much co-wrote everything.
That's true. That's true. But opinion on this: if Blink-182 with Matt Skiba came back as Blink-182 with Matt Skiba, kind of like what Stone Temple Pilots did, what Sublime did, what all those other bands did, I would be into it because I love Matt Skiba. Alkaline Trio, Heavens, Matt Skiba and the Secrets, fucking love them. Love them. Him with Blink-182 under the Blink-182 name without Tom, it's like a bitter divorce and somebody gets remarried and the other person hasn't, and you're like, you really like the other person, not the couple. That's kind of where it is. Like, don't get me wrong, Mark and Travis are great. Matt is great. Them together, ugh. Call it Blink-182 with Matt. Call it Blink-183. I don't give a fuck. Just call it. It's not Blink-182.
I don't know. We would never have No Heart to Speak of, though.
Fair. The California album.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. But
John
I will say
that band, though. I will say that.
I will say also Travis. Like, I don't know what happens. Like, Tom's not here. Fuck it. I'm gonna be a fucking animal. Like, some of those songs are just like, what are you doing?
Well, it's the different style of music. You saw very, very clearly on the self-titled album what Tom's interests were becoming. They were getting more adult. They were getting more experimental. They were staying away from the potty humor that Blink-182 did in the past. Self-titled album was a turning point. Boxcar Racer, turning point. That's it. So the stuff that Tom writes doesn't allow Travis to be Animal. The stuff Mark writes, where it's more of the pop punk, the more old punk, like that reference stuff, that allows Travis to be more the Animal, Tom likes his creative control on his stuff because it works. There's a very clear vision of this is what I want the song to be, and it's working. With Mark, I would assume it's different. I just wish they brought Plus 44 back.
Yeah,
just
that was a good
fuck
one.
Blink-182, call it Plus 44 again and just do it. Like,
Actually, I have a music thing to ask Mike, and actually you probably have this feeling too.
Oh, I have one more thing.
No, you go first.
To go off what you said, it's like when the Who played the Super Bowl.
What's up?
That's not the fucking Who. That's two members. That's Roger and whatever. Roger and Pete. Like, it's not the Who. John's gone and Keith's gone. And Keith was the backbone of that band, but still.
It's like if Paul McCartney went out on tour right now as the Beatles. It's literally like Paul McCartney went out on tour as the Beatles with Ringo Starr, and that's it. It's like there's no John, there's no George, but Paul and Ringo are back, so it's the Beatles.
Or it's like Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, it's Brandon.
Or Panic at the Disco. Or it's only Brendan. It's like, no, this does not work.
Yeah, I see that. I see that point. I don't know why bands do that.
It's different if it's a musician in the band, like a guitarist or a bass player or a drummer or something like that. That's different. But when it's the lead vocal in the band, come on, guys.
I mean, they could have just dropped the 182 because there's three numbers.
But they can't call it Blink, and that's the reason why they changed it, because back in the 90s they went by Blink before their first album, and they got sued.
Oh.
So granted, they can win the lawsuit now because they're much, much, much more popular than that other band ever was. That was a lawsuit that they already went through. So that's where 182 came into fruition, was because, hey, let's stay away from that. Let's call ourselves something different.
Add number.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the music thing that I kind of realized when I was doing my music challenge, like those 30-day things back during like early pandemic. And You comment on a couple of mine, and hit me. I have to ask you this. I think people will start appreciating on the macro scale the legacy of it, the greatness of Linkin Park.
Linkin Park.
Yes.
Like,
let's talk about it.
the only album by Linkin Park that I highly dislike was One More Light. I understand it. But it's not when I think of Linkin Park, that's not what I listen to. And don't get me wrong, when I think Linkin Park, I don't think In the End, I don't think Numb, I don't think, all the really old, really good popular songs. They're great songs, but that's not where my Linkin Park is. My Linkin Park is Minutes to Midnight and A Thousand Suns. Those two albums right there, that's A, when I really started getting into them, but B, I really enjoyed their experimentation between what they were and what they were becoming. It really melded together well. Waiting for the End has literally been one of the few songs that can pull me through virtually anything right here. That's literally been my pandemic anthem, is Waiting for the End by Linkin Park.
Such a great song.
It's a brilliant song. Like, everything about it, it's uplifting. The lyrical content is brilliant. The music just makes you want to like go. But at the same time, it's dark, depressing, and you can relate to it. It doesn't matter what you're going through. You can relate to that song in some way, shape, and form. Everybody's been in that place, whether they think so or not. It's fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
The Hunting Party was a great album too. Very underrated though.
You're a big LP.
Oh yeah. The thing I like about them the most is like they had their first two albums. They knew what new metal. Let's do some new metal. We'll get on the charts and we'll get big. And then but what they didn't shy away from was lyric content. Like people would be like, they went soft. Well, yeah, but if you listen to their lyrics, it's still fucking deep what they're talking about. And then to go off One More Light, I think here's what happened. One More Light's a great song, by the way. That song is just like that hits hard. I think what happened is that I don't know if they knew something or something was up or they had a feeling, but I feel like that was like Chester's album. Like a lot of that was like his baby, maybe. And then, I mean, it makes more sense after the suicide, but I think before the suicide, it was like, what is this? And I think looking back, it's like, maybe he was calling out to us, like, something's up, guys. I need help.
So I agree, but I disagree only in the essence that if you look at the credits for the songs, he's only credited on 2 of the songs.
Wow.
As a writer, it was literally Brad and Mike coming together. So like they could have wrote it for him as like a poppy, let's get you out of this funk. But at the same time, it's like the one thing that I truly dislike about that album, it's not the fact that they got soft, because no, I Shadow of the Day was the first song I really got into them with. Yeah, and that's a soft song. Like that, I'm fine with soft songs. But the thing about that album was just the fact that they brought in so many outside producers. You know what I mean? That was the first album that they really brought outside people in. Sure, they did a little bit on the Hunting Party. They brought in Darren from System of a Down. They brought in Tom Morello. They brought in Paige from Helmet. They brought in a few people. That's fine. But the big issue on it is One More Light was every single song was written by an outside producer with Mike and Brad, and that's it. There was like really no other Linkin Park influence in that band, in that album, and that's kind of where it hit, because it's like, okay, am I listening to Linkin Park or am I listening to Fort Minor Part 2?
Yeah, there was a lot of that vibe on that track. on that
like for me, Chester's album is Dead by Sunrise, the album Out of Ashes, which if you like Chester, listen to that album. It's godly. To me, that's Chester's album, because that was his full writing, but it was also, it got deeper and darker than most Linkin Park did. Like Too Late, Inside of Me, like just all of that is, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Plus the collab album with Jay-Z. I mean,
Collision Course, Jesus Christ, yes.
Like, how many collab albums actually fucking slap with most of the tracks? Like, that's the thing that blows my mind. Most of the times it's like duds. And they actually had like
the peak of mashup at that point as well. Like, mashups were so big at that time, and they actually did it right compared to so many people. You're absolutely right. So many people have just fucked it up. Like, how many songs can actually sound really good when you collab together like that? And they knocked it out of the park.
Obviously, Numb Encore is like chef's kiss, but the one I think that's really underrated is In the End and Izzo.
Yes,
sneaky good. Because it's like, because In the End goes so hard, like on the, obviously Mike's parts, but it's just like, it's just so happy. It's very interesting. I love that one. I always love that one.
It's a great. I have the CD DVD combo of it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It actually has their MTV performance and then like a making of the album documentary of like how they actually came up with what songs they wanted to do the mashup with. Oh, it's so, dude, it's great. It really is great. If you get a chance to check it out.
Yeah, dude, as soon as you said that, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking YouTube that. Like, that's just like, that's a moment in time in like music history in that like 2003, 4, 5 era.
Yeah.
Oh, prime.
Bring it back, man.
Dude, I'm loving, different things like they're sampling shit, or like, what was it? Oh, Hoobastank had like a viral moment on TikTok, and I'm like, I'm here for some Hoobastank talk.
Well, I mean,
wow.
To be honest, it's kind of coming back with like Neck Deep and MGK and Water Parks. Like, it's there.
You heard MGK's new album?
Yeah.
My God, it's awesome. Fucking Ticket to My holy shit.
Actually, Hunter, who runs the network, he's like, he's not like super into music, but one of the things he's super into is like the whole like American Pie soundtracks and shit. But he loves Tickets to My Downfall, and he like has watched the whole movie music video montage like several times.
I love when bands do that. It literally, again, it puts it up on another level right there, is the fact that you're taking your album that really isn't that coherent when you put it together. You actually, Ticket to My Downfall is kind of coherent, but you're actually putting a legit storyline behind it and playing it out like a movie. R. Kelly did that with Trapped in the Closet.
Yeah.
Low did that with Ladywood. Like, just watch that. Watch the Tuvlo one if you do.
Oh, really? Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Trapped in the Closet's good up to like part 6. It's just like,
right? and then you just kind of
like, okay, I'm done with the creeping. Are you gonna open the door or not?
Right. I can thank Weird Al for getting me into that.
Drive through.
Yes.
Oh God, Weird Al. Even that whole White and Nerdy. He has some other good collabs on that. Oh, Confessions Part 3 is quite underrated.
He needs to play the Super Bowl.
Dude, Weird Al needs to play the Super Bowl.
Has to.
That needs to happen. It will never happen, but that needs to happen.
If they brought SpongeBob in with like Sweet Victory, there's a chance that the Weird Al one may happen, but you have to have enough people memeing and hashtagging the fuck out of that to have it happen.
It could happen.
It's very true. It's just, do you think? Well, you know what? We did get people to buy GameStop stock.
Yes.
It could happen. It could happen.
I mean, the fact that we're talking about Doge going to $1, there is any dream and hope in this world that you can get Weird Al in the Super Bowl.
Man, I would actually watch that game.
Yeah.
I would not just watch the halftime show like I do. I would actually watch the full game to get to the halftime show. I want the full experience if Weird Al's going to be on it.
That's worth it. That's worth it.
Petitions do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's create it.
I'm trying to make sure we cover everything because obviously
Streaming Cassettes with the petition for Weird Al. It needs to come out tonight.
Okay, we're done. Mike,
Do it.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Mike
Fucking
says
TikTok.
jump, we say how high. That's how we do it here.
TikTok this shit.
Okay, TikTok it. God, that's another animal TikTok. I think I want to make sure we cover everything. You know what? Something you were kind of sharing that kind of ties into your world and all this stuff. I want to make sure we cover everything. Is the Save Our Stages act that Welch dropped out? First off, just because I was trying to follow along and then I lost track. Did that ever get passed?
To an extent, it got passed to an extent where it was actually helping out certain venues that were able to apply for it. But unfortunately, it doesn't help any of the people working in those venues. So the venue might survive, but the people working in them probably won't.
Lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you were sharing that, and I'm like, this is so important. Right?
Yeah. No, in between the Save Our Stages and the Red Alert Restart, the definitely two programs that I really wish people understood what it means. The Red Alert Restart is, you take 20 million people, which just to give you an idea of what 20 million people looks like, take the population of New England, the entire population of New England, Vermont, New Hampshire, Boston, all of that, and put every single person living there unemployed, and then add some. And that would be what the entertainment industry is.
So add upstate New York.
Basically adding upstate New York, exactly.
That's
adding
fucking
everything
insane.
but New York City. That's literally every single person you see would be unemployed, and that's what the entertainment industry is at this point. So the other downside to it is, with you guys, like you work for, you work for AT&T, or you work for the dealership, or you work for anywhere, and you get a W-2, right? At the when you file taxes. Most people in my industry don't.
I get a W-9.
You get a W-9, right?
That's like special, I guess.
Well, it is. With us, we get 1099s. And so when we pay our taxes, we pay double, sometimes triple what everyone else has to pay in, because that's how we do. Unfortunately, the other thing about that is we don't qualify for unemployment. We don't qualify for any of the extra stimulus things that everyone else got. So like when the pandemic started, I woke up one day and within 6 hours lost about 12 grand in wages, just because everything got canceled, literally within a 5-hour period, including the work I was going to do that day. And so I laid in bed for a few days, and all my friends are getting unemployment, and oh, I'm staying home right now and an extra 600 a week. I'm like, I'm fucking broke and I can't get unemployment because I work in 6 different states, and none of the states say I work enough to actually get it. I'm like, I bring in 40 grand a year, yet I can't make unemployment. And that's why the Red Alert Restart was so important, and still is important, is because that's actually keeping people fed. It's keeping people with a roof over their head. I'm really fucking lucky in the sense that I have a landlord that actually cares, and she hasn't hassled me about anything. I have family that is supportive. I have friends that are supportive, which, thank you, being friends. I'm truly blessed in that aspect, because a lot of my friends that are in the same industry, a couple people have lost their homes and have had to move back in with the parents. A couple people literally became homeless because they live on the road and that's it. They don't have a place to go. It's literally tour from tour to tour, because that's the lifestyle. This is the longest I have not been on a flight, and this is the longest I have not done a show in my entire life.
That's so insane.
1 year is crazy, but that's what it is. So it's kind of it. I finally got to the point where I can make unemployment in the state, but that's because I worked. I actually went to get a job in the state. So I was able to qualify for it, but by the time I qualified for it, it was, here's $100 a week. And I'm like, I'm used to making $1,300 a week. And they're like, not here. So I'm like, shit, what do I do? But I've been really fortunate though in that aspect. Disney Plus, they put out Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
It was a huge deal. Everyone's like, oh my God, Hamilton, we gotta watch it, right? How many people actually realize that every single person in that production was unemployed while they were watching it? No, seriously, like
No,
that's the thing. Everyone's, we're all gathering as a family and we're gonna watch this and this is gonna be great and everybody's been dying to see it and this is awesome and we're gonna have our little pizzas and sit in our nice warm rooms and all that. And little did you know that all of the technicians and the actors are probably in homeless shelters right now because can't really afford to do anything and they probably got evicted by this point.
You don't think about that, but you're absolutely right.
Well, and that's the point though, is that
Yeah.
if I do my job well enough, you do not know I'm there. That's the point of being a technician, is you don't want to be seen. You want somebody to go to the show like RJ and see August Burns Red and go, holy shit, like this band is awesome, their lighting is awesome, their sound is awesome, but I went and saw the show. I'm not paying to see the lighting guy, I'm paying to see the show. And that's the thing. We want that's our job, is to build the best possible show that makes somebody want to continue to come back.
Man.
Even on
And
the
if we
fucking
do our job,
TV.
that's it. So, Peter Welch, he did a really great thing. Grace Potter, bless her, she stood up and actually, really pressed on it. Bernie Sanders, Uncle Bernie. They're all doing really great things. It just comes down to they're doing it for about a third of what the actual issue is. You keep the venues open, that's amazing, but the people that are actually working in those venues are the ones that really need the help.
Right.
You can keep the venue open, but half your workforce isn't going to be able to go back because they're either dead or they're out of money and they can't afford to do anything, or yeah. I just wish we could be like the UK. The UK literally put out a fund right after their red alert restart back in May. And I still have friends over there that do what I do, who are still making a decent wage to sit at home, and I got yelled at one day for saying that, for making a decent wage to stay at home. And it affected me in the sense that, they thought we're just being lazy, but it's not. It's not like our job, it's not like we got fired from our job and, we need to look for another job.
No.
It's not like that. It's
Your
literally
industry does not exist. You cannot.
Exactly. It's our livelihood is gone because we're not able to actually do anything because of the shutdown. We depend on mass gatherings of people. Can you have a mass gathering of people? No. So how do I work? You know what I mean? And that's kind of where the videos all started, was to try and build something back up. But that's also kind of where the rebranding and all that came in as well. Is and certain things are opening again, which is great. And by the summer we'll probably do new things, but that's it is what it is until it actually happens.
Right, and that scar is still there.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's I mean, March 13th, a week from today. That's literally when my world went to shit. It's coming up. It hurts, to be honest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, looking at where we were a year ago versus where we are now, sure, a lot's changed, but I'm proud in the fact that I was able to adapt. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back there, and I'm not expecting anyone to pat me on the back.
I'm patting you.
No, but at the same time, like you look at a lot of people who are still in the point of they're still in disbelief that this whole thing happens and that they don't know what to do. But the fact that, we were able to rebrand and continue to work, really says something. We have the drive-in series, we have the video series, we have the virtual Meet Santa, all things with the Paramount. You look at the Flynn, they haven't done a single thing. They had the Hurly Burly thing, but they didn't. That's it. The Paramount has been able to do a bunch of different things and actually hire their guys to do it.
Yeah, shout out to the Paramount, legit. Between like the drive-ins, me and my wife went to a couple, and if it was scheduled pending, I was actually gonna try to do like some side work. Shout out to you on that again. But that was amazing. They do so much in the community, and when we can give them some love, I want to. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's honestly my favorite place to work. As much as I love being on the road, if I ever got offered a full-time job there, I would take it in a heartbeat. It's one of the few reasons why I don't really want to say that, but it's one of the few reasons why I'm still in Rutland versus up in Burlington.
Gotcha.
Is that theater. I owe them virtually everything. Love them, truly.
Well, actually, if you have anything, I don't want to interrupt thoughts you have. Is there, before we kind of do like the wind down on your end in the show, is there anywhere that people could like learn more, support, like donate, like in your sector if they want to? I feel like like probably spots.
So there is.
And you always give me the links after the show too. I want to give a shout out as best as possible.
Well, I want to make, okay, so if you go to wemakeevents.org, basically what that is right there is a website that's dedicated to help out technicians throughout the US, throughout Canada. It doesn't matter if they're union members, non-union members, it's literally helping every single technician, whether they're working a stadium-sized show, a Broadway show, or a little club. That is where you should go. It'll give you directions on what you can do to help us out, meaning you can write to Congress. I know that's making you actually do something, and I'm sorry, but that's been by far the best thing to be able to help us out. According to the site, over 14,000 letters have been submitted. It's an incredibly low number, but at the same time, I'm proud that 14,000 people have actually stood up and wrote letters. That actually does mean a lot. But anyway, that would definitely be the place to go. Is wemakeevents.org. We've
Perfect.
done Days of Red. You might have seen the Paramount was red last September. Brandon Town Hall was red. The fairgrounds were red. Soundspace, Estabrook Field in Brandon, bunch of places in Burlington. Empire State Building was red, all in support of this cause. We all watch TV, we all watch movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why not support the people that actually do it, so you can continue to watch TV and movies?
Yeah.
And listen to music, and all that, because we're drowning.
No, it's important. Honestly, that's like existence. You need escapism. You need to like live these social things. Like it's so important.
Well, and then people think like, Muse, for instance, right? Muse, they have plenty of money. Chain smokers, they have plenty of money. They're making millions of dollars. You're absolutely right. But what about the guy that set up the show that's making, $1,000 a week? Like, savings only goes so far, right? I went through my savings in my first month of being unemployed. Not because I wanted to. But,
yeah, you needed to.
I needed to. Bills. I had to pay off shit, so I didn't know when I was going back to work. They said first thing, it'd be the summer, and then they said September, and then they said maybe January, and then all of a sudden it's 2022 is my next scheduled show. It's like, shit. What are we doing here? Certain states have opened back up, but to what extent? What can we actually do?
Right.
10% isn't gonna, make anything easy. You know, if it takes 400 seats to make a theater profitable and you can only put in 50 people, okay, so we open back up, but we're losing our asses.
Yeah, that
right
too.
now
That's
the indoor,
another aspect.
you know, for certain venues, it's like, how do you make this profitable if we can't actually bring in people? So they just continue to be shut down. And that's where it gets sad and scary.
Man, it is. It's. I think it's one of those areas that at first was being highlighted, but now it's just been like, you get like over information, so it's just like, okay, you forget about it. But it's so important. It really is. I mean, on top of everything else, obviously. But
well, I mean, we also had the election. We also had, news every day about what COVID actually is, and it's understandable that it went down to the bottom of everybody's barrel, but at the same time, it's a lot of seeing, like, I don't want to say you find out who your friends are, but you kind of find out who your friends are through this whole thing, is the fact that you see who's actually supporting and who's there and actually checking in, and hey, I know you're not working and I know you're miserable, but just want to check in on you and see how you're doing. And a lot of people have come out of the woodwork that I didn't expect, and then unfortunately a lot of people I did hope would be there haven't really been, which is kind of awful, but it is what it is. You live and learn.
right.
Yeah, it's weird. Again, this is the longest I've been home in years. So
yes, man, crazy.
I mean, good things have happened though. I got a puppy. He's been good. I redeveloped the company. I've started hanging out with people that I haven't been able to hang out with in years. We're doing this. RJ, I don't remember the last time I saw you. You know what I mean? Like, it's really great to reconnect with people that I haven't been able to over the years because I've been in fucking Canada or something. But,
no, it's so true.
Yeah.
Well, dude, this has been amazing. I think what we should do is your final burning question, but tweak it for his line of work.
I was thinking about that.
It hit me. I'm like, RJ has to do the final question.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do all three. I'm not going to do that.
Do as many as you want, man.
Because it's kind of hard if you know the last three questions. But if anybody wants to get into your field, what are some tips that they can use, or like even a tip and something that you never saw coming in your field? Like, oh, I didn't think of
that. The best advice I can give anybody is be honest, be open-minded, and admit when you're wrong, and don't think that you know everything unless you actually do. And if you actually do, prove it. That's it. And be on time. Obviously be on time. Time is everything. And if you're not on time, we're finding someone to come in and be on time, and you won't have work. That would be the advice I would give. If anyone is actually interested in joining in a field that is currently dead, let me know. We're always looking for people in normal times. Tons of Broadway shows that come in that always need extra people. So
that's
Max
so
and
cool.
RJ, if you ever,
there you go.
That would be the.
I can act.
I'm vouching for RJ for Broadway.
No, I honestly, I mean, after knowing you guys for as long as I know you, I'd hire you in a heartbeat. Not even being as green, as you might be, because everyone thinks they're super green or everyone thinks they're super into it and I know what I'm doing, and then you go and do it and they're like, oh, I have no idea. No, I'd hire both of you in a heartbeat. Because you have a good head on your shoulders. You're not an idiot. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are not the brightest.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that'd be a really quick little fun side note. That'd be a hell of a segment. We just if there was a show with Paramount, we just film us doing set work for a day, I am here for that.
You guys need to set work. I'm not good with that stuff, but I'll be the actor. I did acting 1 and 2. It was so much fun. My God. At first, I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then I just got up there and like, fuck, can we do another scene? That was awesome.
One of the magicians that I toured with, a gentleman named Alex McAleer, really, really nice guy. He made a vlog series, which you can find on YouTube, of the tours. And, it was basically his experiences as a British man in American cities and kind of what goes on behind the scenes and all that. And we had this one prop on the show that I dreaded every single time to set up. It was just, it's not built properly. And yes, I know that someone might actually hear that and they know how I feel about it. There's a prop that was not built properly, and I would bitch and moan anytime I hung it because it should not have been there. And the magicians caught wind of it. And so one of my last shows there, they all joined in on stage to help me set that up. And McAleer put it on one of his vlogs of me just like trying to teach people how to actually set it up. And it was ridiculous. RJ just made me think about that for a second. Like, there was that time.
That sounds awesome. Holy shit.
But yeah, it was an interesting vlog. There's a lot of really great segments that he made in there. Sam Strange's birthday, where we attacked him with a silly string and stuff at midnight in a hotel room. Totally trashed it. So that was a great time. It was the time our magician assistant slept the wrong way on the bus, and we caught him head facing the driver's the front of the bus as opposed to the opposite direction. Always sleep with your feet to the front of the bus. That way, if you get into an accident, you break your feet, not your neck.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't think about this shit until you do this.
No, exactly. Exactly. Like you can tell how new people are when they get on the bus and what bunk they choose. Always the bottom left. It's the safest bunk on the bus.
Okay.
And it's also right above the generator. So when the generator is running at night, you have the generator to mull out any sound that anyone else is making, but it's also just enough to rock you to sleep. Like if you need a fan or something like that in order to fall asleep, you have that. It's great. It's literally like sleeping in a coffin. And I know people say, "Oh, it's like sleep." No, it's if you have ever like got into a coffin before, and yes, I have because I'm a sick person. It's literally like just being in a coffin. It's great. Just this black box that you're just lying in.
No shit. Wow.
It's wonderful. Best sleep I have ever gotten has been on a tour bus.
Wow. This is some validation here. I like it.
Oh, I'm missing it, man. It's all these memories flying back going, oh yeah.
We're going to get you there. I'm going to try.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
But dude, Mike, this
get you guys there sometime too.
Yeah. Right.
Agreed.
Yes. How can people find you on social if they want to learn more about you and just the whole world of AV and lighting and touring and Dark Shadow Entertainment? And
so darkshadowsentertainment.com is one place. Through that, there's a couple links to the Dark Shadows Facebook page, the Instagram page, the LinkedIn page, all that. And then, if you want to just find me on Facebook, I'm Mike Mitrano, and I'm right there. So, find me.
Fuck yeah.
If you want.
If you want.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Mm-hmm. Well, dude, stay on the post unless you have any final thoughts, RJ. But this has been awesome. So I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate being patient with last week with the hiccup there. So this may work out well.
Yes.
It was my pleasure, and it was really nice to see both of you again.
Dude, definitely. And actually, honestly, I really like this whole, if we bring Mike back with Nick and have like a panel of some sort of discussion.
Elon Musk episode. Here we go.
That would be an Elon Musk, Joe Rogan. God, that one.
You know what? I would love to debate Nick on music. Like literally just have an episode of just music.
That'd be
just
fun.
Talking about anything and anything.
It would be like a debate. Like we could actually be the moderators.
Yeah, for once.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I want RJ to be on the debate too. I want you as
Okay.
well, Max, if you
Yeah.
want. Well, because that's the thing. We all come from different styles of music, but we all have a very eclectic taste. You know, like literally, like everybody, like Nick likes punk, but at the same time, he likes acoustic music. I like emo music, but then again, I like Sarah McLachlan. Max likes EDM, but at the same time, he likes, pop punk. RJ likes metal. At the same time, he likes pop punk. It's like it's all over the place for us. Some of us like country, some of us, we can do so much in a debate.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. Obviously, we like interviewing new people, but there is a level of the show having kind of like a neighborhood feel with like people coming on, shooting the shit. And I feel like I want to incorporate that. So,
Yeah.
Yes, you'll get the calling card. This isn't your one-stop shop here.
No, that's not.
Oh, jeez.
Well, awesome. Well, we should probably do our rollout. It's Wingman of the Year. Get your show, get your blogs, get your merch, wingmanoftheyear.com. And maybe one day we'll do like what Barstool did and do a blackout tour, and Mike will run lighting for us. And we're just going to squirt water guns and do wet t-shirt contests and not give a fuck. That's what I want. Done. All right, stay on pause so we're talking to you, but Streaming Cassettes, Wingman of the Year. We'll see if you broke Nick's record. I don't know, because that show was pretty fucking long, too. But all right, Wingman of the Year, signing out.